The birthday cake sat untouched, 5 pink candles slowly drowning in melting wax. Emma kept glancing at the door, her princess dress wrinkled from hours of waiting, while her twin brother Ethan played with the mountain of toys he'd received from Grandma and Grandpa Morrison last week. "Mommy, why didn't they come to my party?" Emma's voice was small, confused. I looked at my husband James, who was furiously texting his parents. Again, his jaw was tight, that muscle twitching the way it did when he was trying not to explode. "They must have gotten held up, sweetheart," I lied, cutting the cake with forced cheer. "Let's make a wish anyway, okay?" But we all knew the truth. The Morrisons hadn't gotten held up. They simply didn't come. Just like they hadn't come to Emma's dance recital, her preschool graduation, or any event that celebrated my daughter specifically. They'd been at Ethan's soccer game that morning, though. Front row, matching team shirts, professional photographer in tow. My name is Sarah, and for 5 years I've watched my in-laws systematically erase one of my children while elevating the other. But what I discovered last month made their cruelty finally make sense, in the most twisted way possible. It started the day the twins were born. The Morrison family waiting room was packed. James's parents, his sister Claire, his brother Michael, aunts, uncles, cousins. When the nurse announced we'd had twins, the celebration was deafening. "A boy!" Patricia Morrison, my mother-in-law, grabbed the nurse's arm. "There's a boy." "Yes, one of each. A boy and a girl." Patricia's face did something strange then. A flicker of disappointment quickly masked by a bright smile. "How wonderful. The boy, is he healthy?" "Good wait. Both babies are perfectly healthy," the nurse assured her. "But the boy specifically," Richard Morrison, my father-in-law, pressed. "He's normal? Everything where it should be." I was too exhausted and drugged to process their odd fixation. James brushed it off as excitement about carrying on the family name. The Morrisons were old-fashioned like that. But old-fashioned didn't explain what happened next. The hospital visits set the pattern. Patricia would sweep in, make a beeline for Ethan's bassinet, and spend an hour cooing over him. Emma, lying inches away, might as well have been invisible. Richard brought a tiny baseball glove for Ethan, and nothing for Emma. When relatives asked to hold the babies, Patricia would hand over Ethan and say Emma was sleeping, even when she was wide awake. "They're just excited about having a grandson," James rationalized. "They'll warm up to Emma." They didn't. First birthdays. Ethan got a custom-made rocking horse, designer clothes, and a savings bond. Emma got a generic doll from the hospital gift shop, still in its plastic packaging with the $5.99 price tag on. Christmas was worse. Ethan's pile of presents required its own corner of the room. Emma got one gift, usually something obviously regifted. Last year it was a calculator. For a 4-year-old. "Why does Ethan get more presents?" Emma asked last Christmas, her voice small. "Some people just have bigger hearts for boys," Patricia said smoothly. "That's how the world works, dear." I'd bitten my tongue so hard it bled. The favoritism went beyond gifts. Patricia volunteered to babysit Ethan regularly, but always had excuses when I needed someone for Emma. She had hundreds of photos of Ethan on her phone and maybe 3 of Emma, all taken by me and sent to her. At family gatherings, she'd introduce Ethan to everyone while Emma stood forgotten behind my legs. "This is getting sick," I told James after Patricia threw Ethan a spectacular 4th birthday party at the country club, but forgot Emma's birthday entirely. "Your parents have some serious issues with our daughter." "I know," he admitted. "I've tried talking to them. Mom just says she connects better with boys. Dad won't discuss it at all. That's not good enough anymore." The breaking point came with the birthday party. Emma's 5th, the one they didn't attend. James finally confronted them that night, while I put the twins to bed. I heard the shouting from downstairs. "She's a child," James's voice carried. "My child. Your grandchild. We sent a card," Patricia's cool response. "You sent Ethan to space camp. You missed Emma's birthday for a golf tournament. We committed to that tournament months ago. You committed to Ethan's summer plans before he could even walk. Everything Emma gets is an afterthought, if she's thought of at all. Perhaps if Sarah made more effort to. Don't you dare blame my wife for your blatant favoritism." A door slammed. James came upstairs, face flushed, eyes wet. "I'm done," he said. "They're not seeing either kid until they can treat them equally." But something nagged at me. This went beyond simple favoritism or sexism. The way Patricia had asked about Ethan at birth, the immediate intensity of their preference, it felt deeper. Planned, almost. That night, I made a decision that would unravel everything. I ordered DNA testing kits. Not because I doubted my children's paternity. They both looked exactly like James. But because I'd started wondering about James himself. "This is insane," James said when I told him. "You think I'm not my parents' son because they favor Ethan? I think something's not right. Just humor me." He agreed, mostly to prove me wrong. The results took 3 weeks. I checked the portal obsessively until one morning. There it was. James wasn't Richard Morrison's biological son. But that wasn't the shocking part. The shocking part was the secondary match the system found. Claire, James's sister, shared only 25% DNA with him. Half-siblings, not full. Which meant Patricia had a secret. A big one. James stared at the results, face white. "This can't be right. We need to talk to Claire," I said. Claire was as shocked as we were. She agreed to test immediately. Those results were even more illuminating. Claire was Richard's biological daughter. James wasn't. "Mom cheated," Claire whispered. "Mom. Perfect, judgmental, holier-than-thou mom. 30-something years ago," James calculated. "Right around when I was conceived." We debated confronting Patricia for days. Then fate intervened. Michael, James's brother, called. "Did you do a DNA test recently?" he asked without preamble. "How did you?" "Because I got an alert about a new match. A half-brother match." "You." The pieces clicked. Michael, 5 years younger than James, had done a genealogy test last year. The system had automatically notified him of the match when James's results uploaded. "So we're half-brothers," Michael said slowly. "Which means either mom or dad isn't my biological parent." "It's dad," Michael said. "Has to be. You look exactly like mom." We decided to confront them together, James, Michael, and me. Claire opted out, too shaken to face it. The Morrisons' pristine living room had never felt more suffocating. Patricia served tea like we were having a social visit, not about to detonate her carefully constructed life. "We know," James said simply, sliding the DNA results across the coffee table. Patricia's cup rattled against the saucer. Richard went very still. "I don't understand," Patricia said, but her face had already drained of color. "I'm not Dad's biological son. We know that. What we want to know is why you've punished my daughter for it." "We haven't punished anyone." "Stop." James's voice was sharp. "Just stop. You've treated Emma like she doesn't exist since the day she was born. You knew, didn't you? You knew I wasn't Dad's, and you were terrified it would show up in my kids." The silence stretched until Richard finally spoke. "We made a decision 30 years ago to raise you as mine. To never speak of it." "Whose decision?" Michael asked. "Mine," Richard said firmly. "Your mother made a mistake. One mistake. I chose to forgive it." "A mistake?" Patricia's composure finally cracked. "Is that what we're calling it?" "Patricia." "No. I've kept this secret for 30 years. Played the perfect wife, the grateful woman whose husband forgave her." She turned to James. "You want to know why we struggle with Emma? Because every time I look at her, I see myself. I see the daughter I could have had with your father." "My father?" James leaned forward. "Who was he?" "Someone who saw me as more than a breeding machine for the Morrison family line." Patricia's laugh was bitter. "Someone who loved me for me, not my ability to produce sons to carry on a name." "So you punish my daughter for it?" I interjected. "I don't punish her. I can't look at her without remembering." Richard made sure of that. "Every interaction is monitored, measured. Too much affection for the girl might reveal old secrets, right, Richard?" Richard's face was stone. "I kept your secret. Raised your son. That was more than I deserved?" Patricia stood. "Yes, you've made that clear every day for 30 years. And our grandson, our real grandson, as you call him, gets everything while that little girl gets reminders that she exists on sufferance, just like her father did." "Don't blame me for your choices," Richard said coldly. "My choice was loving someone else when you treated me like property. My choice was staying for my children when I found out I was pregnant. Your choice was weaponizing that against an innocent child." "Mom," James's voice was broken. "Who was my father?" Patricia looked at him for a long moment. "Daniel Chun. He was a resident at the hospital where I volunteered. Brilliant, kind, everything Richard wasn't." "What happened to him?" "Richard happened." Patricia's voice was flat. "Suddenly Daniel's residency was revoked. Visa issues. He was deported back to South Korea within a month of Richard finding out about us." "You had him deported?" Michael stared at his father. "I protected our family," Richard said. "And I've raised James as my own." "No," James cut him off. "You've tolerated me. There's a difference. And now you're perpetuating that tolerance with my daughter. She's not, Richard caught himself, but too late. Not what? Not really a Morrison? Because her father isn't really a Morrison either. That's not what I meant. It's exactly what you meant. James stood. And it ends now. James, Patricia reached for him. No. I've spent my entire life feeling like I had to earn my place in this family. I won't let Emma grow up the same way. He looked at Richard. You want a grandfather only the kids you consider legitimate? Fine. You just lost both of them. We left amid protests and tears. In the car, James broke down completely. It all makes sense now, he said. Why they insisted on knowing the baby's gender immediately. Why they were so focused on Ethan being healthy and normal. They were checking if their real grandson was okay. James, I need to find him. Daniel Chin. My father. It took 2 months of searching, but we found him. Dr. Daniel Chin, now 68, living in Seoul, retired from a successful career as a pediatric surgeon. Married, 3 kids, 7 grandchildren. And he'd never forgotten Patricia Morrison, or the son he'd never met. The video call was surreal. James looked so much like him it was almost eerie. The same eyes, same smile, same way of tilting his head when thinking. I tried to find you, Daniel said, tears streaming. But Richard Morrison was powerful. He made it clear if I ever contacted you or Patricia. He threatened you? He destroyed my career in America. Made sure I could never return. I rebuilt in Korea, but I never stopped wondering about you. We talked for hours. About Patricia, about the past, about the family James never knew he had. His half-siblings were eager to meet him. His father's wife, remarkably, was understanding. I want to meet my grandchildren, Daniel said. Both of them. Equally. Both of them, James repeated firmly. Always both. The Morrisons tried to reconcile. Patricia left Richard. Temporarily, she insisted, just to make a point. She showed up at our door one night with a trunk full of gifts for Emma. I know it doesn't make up for 5 years, she said. But I want to try. Why now? I asked. Because I realize I've been perpetuating Richard's punishment. Letting him use my mistake to control how I love my grandchildren. Emma deserves better. You all do. We're taking it slow. Supervised visits. Equal attention to both kids, or no visit at all. Richard refuses to participate, clinging to his wounded pride and biological supremacy. Emma, resilient as children are, has bloomed under the new attention. Grandma really sees me now, she told me after Patricia took her, just her, to a special grandmother-granddaughter lunch. How does that feel? Like I was invisible and now I'm not. My heart broke a little. No 5-year-old should know what invisibility feels like. James has built a relationship with Daniel through video calls and is planning a trip to Seoul. The kids are excited to meet their other grandfather, the one who promises to love them both exactly the same. You know what the funny thing is? James said one night, if they'd just treated our kids equally, we never would have questioned anything. Their favoritism exposed their own secret. He was right. The Morrisons' desperate need to privilege their real grandson had unraveled 30 years of carefully constructed lies. In trying to punish Emma for the sin of being descended from an affair, they'd revealed the affair itself. The DNA test results sit in our safe now. Proof that family isn't about blood or names or legitimacy. It's about love freely given. Daniel Chun, who's never met our children in person, already loves them more equally than the grandparents who watched them grow. Emma asked me recently if Grandpa Richard doesn't love her because she's a girl. No, baby, I told her. Grandpa Richard has trouble loving people who remind him that families can be made in different ways. That's his problem, not yours. Grandma figured it out, though. Yeah, she did. Sometimes people need time to learn how to love better. I hope Grandpa figures it out too, she said. But if he doesn't, that's okay. I have Grandpa Daniel now, and he loves both of us. Out of the mouths of babes. The secret Patricia Morrison kept for 30 years is out now. The grandson they desperately favored shares no more Morrison blood than the granddaughter they ignored. The irony isn't lost on anyone. But the real revelation isn't about DNA or affairs or decades-old deportations. It's that love, real love, doesn't check bloodlines before it chooses whom to embrace. Emma knows that now. She's learning it from a grandfather an ocean away who can't wait to love her. Not in spite of who her father is, but because of it. And sometimes that's all the DNA test you really need.